He is the man who turned monochrome into a movement. Founder of Paradise Road, curator of Tintagel, and author of Living Design, Shanth Fernando has shaped Colombo's cultural landscape with a black and white aesthetic that is anything but simple. A recluse by nature, yet a visionary whose spaces speak louder than words, today on Kaleidoscope Selinco Live Dialogues, we step into the mind of the man who lives design. Living design.
Right.
How do you personally define living design?
We're using living design because that is the title of the book. But if you read the title properly, it says Shanth Fernando Living Design. So it is actually a statement and a proclamation of my taste. If you look in the book, you would find that every little detail and the style that I have developed and my taste is what is reflective in every page of that book. So it's almost like a diary of my life.
When you founded Paradise Road way back in 1987, what was the single most radical idea you wanted to introduce to Sri Lanka?
See, when I came to Sri Lanka, I came back after 16 years of overseas exposure. I lived in the Netherlands for 3 years. I lived 3 years in Costa Rica, New Zealand, and then I moved to Australia, where I blossomed. Because Australia has a lifestyle which suits me, and it was very relative, their lifestyle, to what we have in Sri Lanka. But there was a sophistication because while I was there, the style in Australia was developing, and I was a part of it. I've always been an art collector. You know, I've bought my first painting in 1970 from house, Baba Sanzori's house. And that was an artist in Nike called Blue Film. And I proudly took it with me, and I believe in only owning originals and no more copies. So when I came from Australia, I came back with 2 original Donald friends. Why Donald friend? Because he was influenced in Sri Lanka, and he had a link to Sri Lanka because he was recognized by the Boers. And the work of Jeffrey Bauer always fascinated me, and I loved it. And I had the fortune of living in a Jeffrey Bauer house when I first came back here.
So your signature monochrome style is iconic. What draws you to black and white?
You see, when I came to Sri Lanka, when I looked at the style that we had, I found that there was an opportunity to bring that style which was sophisticated. I mean, we had created a style, very sort of, everything was coordinated, color coordinated. And I believed in having a natural canvas into which you bring color. So when you go monochrome, you can bring paintings in. You don't have to color coordinate. And that is my style.
So your home has been described as the finest art gallery you've ever seen.
That is an opportunity in my life, because really, I became a gallerist 28 years ago. And from the moment I came to Sri Lanka, I started developing a taste for Sri Lankan art and developing artists with it. And that was my mission. You know, to find artists and give them an opportunity. And I've done that successfully, and that gives me the greatest delight. It's the most important thing in my life, to see other people succeed. Because I lived, do you understand? So I've always been honest, and it's not all about money. It's about giving people opportunity. Because as a Christian, I'm not ashamed to tell you, we're told the giver shall receive. So we have to share and care. So there are so many downtrodden people in this country with talent to be given opportunity.
How do you decide what collectibles belong in your personal space and what should be open to the public?
Art is very subjective, and it's intuitive. When you go to choose a painting, you buy what appeals to you. I mean, you can walk through a whole exhibition and it can be only one painting that appeals to you. Why does it appeal to you? Because it belongs to you. It belongs to a space, because when you look at it, you're not coveting it, you're admiring it, and you're relating to it, and it's speaking to you. and you want to live with it. So that is how I started collecting. And today I can proudly turn around and tell you I have over 1,000 works in my private collection, for which I live a private art gallery. And today, here, I'm showing you the essence of my collection.
How do you embody design in your everyday routines?
It's all about design. To me, I developed a taste and style, and I live it. And I've been fortunate enough, whether it's my clothes or whether the way I live, the way I entertain. I believe, as a human being, you have to practice what you preach. And your dress, my mother turned around and said, clothes don't make the man, but really it does give him a presence. And I've always maintained that presence. What I wear, but she also told me, you buy quality. And it is better to buy one good thing than 10 some rubbish. So if you go into my wardrobe, I've got clothes that are 20 years old because I buy timeless things. And my taste in general, even in art or anything, is timeless. Even though now I have been introduced to contemporary art by my daughter, Saskia, who's one of the galleries at Sri Lanka. And, my children have been an influence in my life because, they belong to today, I belong to yesterday. And their influence has developed my taste.
Shanth, from galleries to cafes to stores to boutique hotels, what has been the most challenging thing about expanding the Kaleidoscope?
Shall I tell you the story? Because all my life, I started at the age of 20, managing Lake Lodge, which is my sister's guest house. It was a guest house. Today it's called a Beauty Hotel. At the age of 20. At the age of 21, I had my own 5-room guest house. So I've been in hotels. And food has been a part of my life because my mother was an excellent cook. We always entertained people. You understand? Food was very important. That you shared recipes and taste was very important. So food, I've always loved to cook, and I've been featured in Vogue Entertaining in Australia, cooking Sri Lankan food. And all these things, these facets that belong to my under Paradise Road umbrella are all extensions of me. So I've been fortunate enough in my life to actually live my life, to enjoy doing what I do. I enjoy my life, Every single product that we have at Paradise Road is designed by me. I don't delegate, never, not even buying product. So it's all a me thing. But fortunately, I'm leaving a legacy because I've got 2 daughters who rubbed off. My oldest daughter is an interior designer and has got a concept store. And she's a designer herself. So where product design is concerned, I am not worried about the future because I'm leaving footsteps. That's it. And then you take my younger daughter as a gallerist, and I've got such a huge art collection, and one day I hope to have a public gallery with all my collection, because none of my children want to live in the house that I live in, because they believe it's a man's house, and it's not a home. Doesn't matter. That is folly.
Shanth, you always champion Sri Lankan craft, but how do you balance modernity with heritage?
Paradise Road is a direction, and you stick to that direction. You don't react. I don't go with fads. I'm classic, and I'm what timeless design. So, if I take batik, when I came to Sri Lanka, I transform batik into geometric design. I'm known for my stripes, and if you can cover my book, it's a batik stripe. So those are my signatures, and that's the base that I use, discipline, when I'm designing and creating things for Paradise Road.
Let's look at Tintaja.
Right.
How did you approach designing a space that carries so much political and cultural weight and still make it intimate?
I was summoned by Surendra Balalaika, which wanted to get rid of furniture at Titajo. And then I asked her what she was going to do with it. And she said she was going to lease it to the Pakistan embassy. And then I saw opportunity. And I said, how much more? She told me because of interest. I could afford that. I said, I'll take it. It took me 2 years and 8 months to transform that building. I added 100% more space, right? Because the land was there to what was existing. Because I had to create 80 new bathrooms and facilities for a hotel. For me, the challenge and the joy of creating that, and it's not the only hotel I've done. You see, as I told you, when I was 20, I had and I was using Baba style there. Then I had the villa in that hotel. So all these things are expressions of self, and I love the design of it. I was traveling, I went with Titajo. I wanted to do something very special. And I went to Paris, and I went to Paris, and I bought the fabulous rococo mirror that's in the bar, right? It came from a chateau in Marseille. There are chandeliers from Baccarat, there are now Dutch chandeliers, there are Italian chandeliers, all these things, because I wanted to enhance the space and give it to the challenge is wonderful, and the cuts on the building were wonderful for me to create something special, and I did. So much so that the feathering by cap is that the now King of England I hosted at Titajo, which, I mean...
What do you hope your legacy will be?
I'm not worried about my legacy, because I've got 2 very able children who shall follow in my footsteps without me asking for it. I can see it, and I have great joy. I don't know how many people have that privilege in life to see their own children blossoming on their own. We don't work together. You understand? We don't work together, but I know what they're doing. And what they're doing gels with what I've always done. In this country, there's so much jealousy and envy. People don't realize what an effort one puts in to get to where I got to.
On YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, Kaleidoscope delivers stories that matter every week. Follow, subscribe, and stay connected.
You focus on your goals. We will take care of the risks. Silico Life.